First off, I'd like to just introduce myself. Robey, student being well from the University of Michigan. So I thank everybody for coming out and participating in the speech. The main topic of the speech is religious teachings, Islam and Christianity. The reason I chose those two topics is because of the fast growth of both of the religions and the teachings of both religions. The start of the Islamic teachings is kind of touching me because I was once in the faith. So, my heart is in it in some ways, but in some ways, the reason I'm a Christian now, we'll get into that in a moment. Prophet Muhammad, Ibn Abdul Muhammad, 1700 years ago, he was the messenger, and he's really the foundation of Islam and the Quran. He was the author of the book, and that's where some of those miracles came from. As he was married in the relationship, he had the belief of one God. And the Quraysh people and all of that back in Mecca, they used to worship idols, calves, same things that were going on in the Christian faith. But what happened with Prophet Muhammad, that he really knew that there couldn't be anything significant coming from those particular type of idols or man-made objects. So he searched farther for, further on for God. And when he first started out in his ministry, he didn't have any followers because, people like to party and do the other things and worship the idol because it was for self-gratification. And those particular type of things came first and foremost, and even today in people's lives, where they don't want to be involved in structure. A lot of modern day Muslims, what they do is they take the religion and they water it down, because Islam really was a religion of peace. But what's happening is it's becoming a fad with a lot of young American men and women. And sometimes they're taking on different wives. And, certain things that Prophet Muhammad taught in the book of the Hikal that was written. And one thing that we talk about when it comes to that is the fact that he didn't marry these women because of lustful reasons. They were having holy wars and holy campaigns, and a lot of the disciples that followed Prophet Muhammad got slew in the battle. But because he was able financially, he took on these wives to take care of them. So that's a big misinterpretation when it comes to that religion. You have a lot of people that are marrying multiple wives because of all kinds of reasons that really can't even afford to take care of one. So it's a misconception. The modern teachings of this day came with Elijah Muhammad, which his teachings was of the Sunni faith, the American Muslim community, that raised up Malcolm X. And it was a good teaching, and it was alongside of Christianity, especially during the time of Martin Luther King. So you had those two entities going on. But it was popular for people to grab hold to Islam in those days because of the fact of all of the mistreatment and all the unjust that was coming to our race during those oppressive times. So it was pretty easy for them to adapt to something that was away from the norm of Christianity, in which that day they thought was a white religion. So it was easy for people to grab hold of something that was new and that they saw that was connected to African Americans. And actually, the religion was structured. And that's why a lot of people liked it too, because it showed a lot of love and brotherhood and a lot of structure. But what had happened was, there was a lot of misteachings about that also. And if anyone doesn't know Malcolm X, he was one of the main leaders of the faith. And what had happened is that he took a trip of pilgrimage to Mecca. And when he got to Mecca, he found out that there were Muslims of all color, races, and creeds and backgrounds. So that's what changed the militant style that was going on with him. And when he came back to the United States, he tried to pass that love on. And so that's why you have so many differences about what Islam really stands for and what it was about back during those times. But really what was going on was Malcolm X saw that peace was peace. And he wanted peace with all races. And once he came against what the American-made Islam stood for, that's when they came up against him. And that's when Malcolm X was murdered. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and who came after him was Louis Farrakhan. So they didn't want that brotherhood to be breaking up about what they thought Islam was about. And it had a lot to do with power struggles and the truth getting out about the true religion of Islam. And so that's ended the life of Malcolm X. And also when Malcolm X died, he wasn't called Malcolm X. His name was Malik al-Shabazz. So he didn't die as Malcolm X. Because once he had came from Mecca, he saw the true light of what that religion stood for. And that's what had happened. He had changed his ways and changed his name to take on true attributes of that religion. In America now, you know, we happen to coexist, you know, with Muslims. You know, they're here, we're there, we're all trying to live together, do things together, and come on different terms with each other. But one thing that is important to me when it comes to these particular type of faiths, whether it's that or any other type of faith or religion, is that we have to try to understand each other's upbringings, believing, why we believe as we believe, and why we do what we do. We're not going to agree with everything that their religion is talking about or our religion is talking about. It's just that that's the way of life. It's freedom of religious speech. And, you know, we're in a country where we're free to be able to do that. And so instead of coming against each other, find out what it is about their religion and their upbringing is the reason that they can even, you know, that they worship the way they worship. Because there's a reason behind it. And one of the strongest ways to show your religion effective is out of love. The Christian teachings, you know, have many different sects too. You know, the Catholic, the Baptist, the non-denominational, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, among others. But the main focus is the law of God. You know, that's His 10 Commandments. These laws are structural laws, but in place by God, you know, basically as a manual to live, you know, to live a good life. And it's basically the law of love.